The third lesson in the conic sections is lesson 43, and it is going to be parabolas. Now, we've already graphed these back in lesson 32 as quadratic functions. So part of them we've already done. We will review that. We're going to look back at lesson 32, and then the new part will be parabolas that will be on their side. And we definitely want to do a couple of those. So, same story. I'm going to use the Post-its from my old notebook because I don't have any new Post-its with me. I can get these for you when we get back to school. So, let me move this first. The thing that we want to recognize here is that a circle had an x squared and a y squared, and they were added, and the coefficients were the same, you know, like 1x squared plus 1y squared. Ellipse had x squared and y squared. They were added, but the coefficients had to be different. Well, in this one, it has only an x squared or a y squared. Now, we've graphed the ones with x squared. Those are the parabolas that open up or down. Now, there's a couple of things on this Post-it that I may mention. We're not going to be graphing them. You have a point called the focus, and you have a line called the directrix. But we're going to graph this pretty much like we did back in lesson 32. So, the standard form is, and usually here we use y equals because all parabolas are not going to be functions. The ones that open up or down will be, but we use y instead of f of x at this point. So we've got y equals a. Remember, that's your stretch. That tells you whether it opens up or down in the case of one that is leads off with a y. And then it has x minus h squared plus k. And then your vertex is the opposite of this one, which is positive h, and then the same as this one, which was positive k. And then the other things that we stated were the axis of symmetry, which I will abbreviate, which was x equals h. And I believe that maybe they will open up or down. We probably will state that information. And I think that may be all. The vertex, the axis of symmetry, and then graphing it. Let's go back to page, let me put lesson 32. And I'm going to put page 74. And you can use that as your example. We did vertex form. There's our standard form. Let me get on the camera. Positive A opened up, negative A opened down. The H, opposite A of this, gave you the X of the vertex, and the K stayed the same. We graphed the parent on the front of our foldable. And then we graphed a couple of examples. We did f of x was equal to 3 times x plus 1 squared plus 2. Yours are going to look just like this, except they're going to have a y here. And then the vertex was negative 1 and positive 2, opposite of this one, positive 2. And then the a was 3, and that meant that, and it was positive, so we knew it was going to open up. We plotted the vertex, negative 1, 2, and then our stretch was 3. We went up 3 over 1 each. And then we'll have one in our notes that will have the fraction, and we'll review that, because instead of treating it as 3 over 4, you put the 3/4 over the positive 1. So that's a couple of examples, and you can refer back to those for, I think, probably half of your classwork. And then the new one is going to be the parabola that opens left or right. And it is going to be x is equal to a times y minus k squared plus h. You can see your x and y are switched. Now that's going to tell us whether our parabola opens, if it's an up-down parabola is what I call them, or if it's a left-right. So if it leads off with y equals, then you'll know it'll be up or down, and then you go from there, just like we did back in lesson 32. Now this is going to be the new one, and then your vertex is again going to be HK, but I want you to see where they are. The H is out here, and that will be the same. And then the K is in here, and this will be the opposite. And then the A is going to tell us whether it opens left or right. Positive A opens right. Negative A, I'm going to put those in quotes, opens left. And then we'll use that stretch, just like where we go up or down with it, we'll go left or right with it. So the first one that we're going to do is, and I really think, I was trying to look and see if we've got room to do it. I think we do. Yes. I took another sheet of my graph paper and I just cut it in half. I may have to trim it down just a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and use it like it's given. So problem number 1 we're going to do is x is equal to 3/5. Actually, I think I'm going to do this other one first. We're going to do -2 y plus 3 quantity squared. And then we're going to state the vertex, and we're going to state the axis of symmetry. Usually we just put A of S, don't we? So we'll just do that. I didn't state that over here, but the axis of symmetry will be a horizontal line, and it will be y is equal to k. So you'll have to watch that carefully as you do one that is going left or right. Now, here's your clue right here. If it leads off as x equals, then it's going to be a left or right. And I'm going to write both of them. But I'm going to look at my A. It's negative, so it's going to be opening to the left. Negative opens to the left. Positive opens to the right. Now, the vertex, and just like we had when we had these up here, I would always say the x gives you the x. Well, the y is going to give you the y. So h is out here, and there's nothing added. So h is 0. And then your k, let me draw that. And that's the same. And then your k is going to be the opposite of the positive 3, which is -3. And your axis of symmetry will be y equals -3. We're ready to graph it. I have a vertex of 0, -3. It's going to open sideways to the left. So I think I'm going to scoot my y-axis over. And this should be plenty of axis. So my vertex is at 0 on the x-axis and -3 on the y-axis. Excuse me. Now, we look at our A, and what you're going to think of is that just like if it was a y equals, it would open down. Well, it's going to open left. So I'm going to be, I usually just turn mine, and I'm going to be doing the left. If the A is 2, I'm going to put the -2 over the +1. And so what we're going to do, excuse me, keep sneezing, is going to be the up 2, which we would usually say, but we're going to go left 2, and then we're going to go up and down 1. So I'm going to go left 2, and then I'm going to go 1. I'll tell you what, let's just say over 1. Probably we'll just say up or down 1. That'll probably be better. Up, down, 1. See, because if you look at it, we went left 2, then we went 1 up, 1 down. That's probably better. And then we'll sketch our parabola. Now, these are not functions. It's not a function because you can see right here that these x's, -2, has repeating x's because -2, -2, and -2, -4. And I think I could trim that down just a little bit to glue that in. I will pause and do that later. Number 2. I thought we'd do another x equals, and we're going to do x is equal to 3/5 times y minus 1 in parentheses squared plus 2. Notice that it leads off with x, so it's going to be up or down. Oh, sorry. It's going to be left or right. Think about it. Your x-axis runs horizontal, and so it's going to run along the x-axis, so it's going to be left or right. And because A is positive, it's going to open right. And the vertex will be H, which is positive 2, and K, which will be the opposite of the negative 1, which is positive 1. So the 2 comes right here, and then the opposite of the positive 1. Y gives you Y. That's the easiest way to think about it. And our axis of symmetry is Y equals, and there it is right there, positive 1. So we'll graph this one. It's going to have a vertex of 2, 1. It's going to open to the right. So I think if I move my x-axis, my y-axis, I keep saying x-axis because I usually draw it first. And then my, let's see, yeah, I think this will be fun. Because the vertex is going to be at 2, 1. It's going to go to the right, and because our A is 3/5, we're going to go up. Let's see, we're going to go to the right 3/5, and we're going to go put it over 1, and then we're going to go up, down 1. So just like if you want to turn it, you can do that. We're going to go over 3/5, which is just a little more than half. And then we're going to go up 1, and we're going to go down 1. And then when you connect them, you have your parabola. Now again, they're going to be mixed together. And so if you've got an x equals, then an x equals parabola is going to be left or right. And if you have y equals, it's going to be up or down, just like we did back. And we put it over on page, I didn't put the page number, 98. It's lesson 32 on page 74, and you can look at the examples of those.